saw it a bit earlier there with SAFC. We're going to have to look at some of these highlights, but it's always Jorge Hernandez who's involved. It's a solid header there, and it's Kevin Lambert who puts the ball away there. And then, of course, a nice bicycle from Carter Manley, who's not going to be available in this game due to injury. And then it's Luke Hawkinson with the killer goal that should have been goal of the week into the upper 90 off a cross. Both he and Mitch Tainer not available for the game, and Coach Marcina very unhappy about that result against Miami.
Yeah, you mentioned those two guys, Manley and Hawkinson, not being available. Neither is Hugo tonight. Luis Solinet been out the entire season, and so you mentioned Tainter also not being with the club tonight. But they're not the only side who's going to be short tonight. A lot of changes for Oakland as well, Katie.
Right, a very young roster coming out here tonight. 2-5-1 record. There's been a lot of changes. Coach Gavin Clinton, now the interim head coach, as they parted ways with head coach Delgado just on Sunday. So we're seeing 6 young academy players in the starting lineup, including in goal. That's a huge, big step there for the academy program, but also kind of a testy thing to try out against this SAFC lineup. Even their second team is feisty, physical. They lead the league in fouls, so that's a tough thing to walk into as a younger person against this SAFC team, especially at Toyota Field.
Yeah, as we know with the San Antonio FC Academy, the academy kids, pretty young. Talking about 16, 17-year-olds, and Noah Delgado, once a teammate of head coach Alan Marcina from back in their playing days. All right, on the other side, kickoff between San Antonio FC and Oakland Roots SC. The fellas haven't lost 2 in a row in a long time. We're going to get into that throughout the broadcast. But on the way next, SAFC and Roots right here on Valley Sports. Though with San Antonio FC, who's in black tonight, the role of Darth Vader and that evil empire goes to the Oakland Roots SC. The visitors from Oakland, we welcome you inside the Toyota Field. May the 4th be with you. Gets it set right here on Bally Sports between the home club and the visitors from Oakland. In the booth alongside Katie Goodman, I'm Hector Ledesma, and SAFC coming off a tough loss, but Katie, for the season, so far, so good for the home club.
Right. They're starting to figure things out in the attack. They're putting balls into the back of the net. I mean, we saw it a bit earlier there with SAFC. We're going to have to look at some of these highlights, but it's always Jorge Hernandez who's involved. It's a solid header there, and it's Kevin Lambert who puts the ball away there. And then, of course, a nice bicycle from Carter Manley, who's not going to be available in this game due to injury. And then it's Luke Hawkinson with the killer goal. That should have been goal of the week into the upper 90 off a cross. Both he and Mitch Tanner not available for the game. And Coach Marcina very unhappy about that result against Miami.
Yeah, you mentioned those two guys, Manley and Hawkinson, not being available. Neither is Hugo tonight. Luis Solinet been out the entire season. And so you mentioned Tainter also not being with the club tonight. But they're not the only side who's going to be short tonight. A lot of changes for Oakland as well, Katie.
2-5-1 record. There's been a lot of changes. Coach Gavin Clinton, now the interim head coach, as they parted ways with head coach Delgado just on Sunday. So we're seeing 6 young academy players in the starting lineup, including in goal. That's a huge, big step there for the academy program, but also kind of a testy thing to try out against this SAFC lineup. Even their second team is feisty, physical. They lead the league in fouls. So that's a tough thing to walk into as a younger person against this SAFC team, especially at Toyota Field.
Yeah, as we know with the San Antonio FC Academy, the academy kids, pretty young. Talking about 16, 17-year-olds. And Noah Delgado, once a teammate of head coach Alan Marcina from back in their playing days. All right, on the other side, kickoff between San Antonio FC and Oakland Roots SC. The fellas haven't lost 2 in a row in a long time. We're going to get into that throughout the broadcast. But on the way next, SAFC and Roots right here on Bally Sports.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can capture all the moments that make summer, summer. Like driving a RAV4 to wade in a waterfall.
Nice.
Cruising to play mini golf in a Camry. Or taking a Tundra to the beach.
You're not going to leave me here, are you?
Right now, qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 36 months on a rugged new 2024 Tundra. Offer ends June 3rd.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
Right now, you can get any large pizza for just $12 from Pizza Hut. Any pizza, any crust, $12. That means meat lovers, supreme, or create your own with any toppings, just $12. This deal won't last long, so order any way you want now.
As the HEB Boilmaster, I always get excited for the season because it's the most wonderful time of year for crawfish. And at HEB, we sell more crawfish in Texas than anyone. We're talking big, fresh, live Louisiana crawfish. Plus, with our in-store boils, we do the prepping, spicing, and cooking. So you can just pinch, pull, and be merry. HEB. Here, crawfish season is better.
Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide, kindness will be your guide. Put a little love in your heart.
Wherever or whenever you're in need, the right heart specialist is within reach with our extensive cardiovascular network. Learn more now about our comprehensive heart care.
Who can tell me what they want to be when they grow up? Rico?
Are you seriously gonna have nachos for all?
San Antonio FC on Bally Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Go to buyatoyota.com or visit your local Toyota dealer today. And by Rico's. Hey, San Antonio, keep it cheesy out there. Vote for Rico's means nachos for all. Back here at Toyota Field on May the 4th be with you night here in San Antonio, and I made the analogy earlier, Katie Goodman, with Oakland Roots FC playing the role of Darth Vader in the Evil Empire. That would make you Princess Leia. Unquestioned here, the leader of the galaxy and of the good guys as we get set for the lineups.
Maybe sans the hairstyle. Right?
Maybe sans the hairstyle is right. Our lineups, Oakland Roots FC, you see, they go 3-4-3. And Katie, it's a new lineup or a different lineup than what we're traditionally used to. You talked about this moments ago before the break. A lot of youngins in there for Roots.
Right, lots of young guys. I think they're trying to prepare for that San Jose Earthquakes Open Cup game coming up for them here this coming week. And so you're going to see a lot of new players from the 510 project. And then looking at San Antonio FC, quite a few changes as well. Of course, we've got tons of injuries, as we had mentioned. So Lambert playing in that left back position. A little strange, but he played in it in his previous squad. So he's going to go right back into that spot and see what he can do. Then we've got Burrow and Omar right there in the middle of the park.
Yeah, talked about the 3-4-3. 3-4-3 their formation leading in, and we're underway from right here at Toyota Field as Roots controls early. SAFC looking to avoid a second consecutive loss for the first time since the tail end of the 2020 season. Yep, it has been going on 4 years since the home club lost at home.
Right, and especially in consecutive matches. Last time they lost consecutively was in 2020, so I'm sure Marcina does not want to have to change that statistic now. I think if there's any situation for them to walk into right now against Oakland, this is probably the best, knowing that Dom Dwyer is not available for this game. A lot of their starters on the bench right now. Most likely we're going to see an appearance from them, but let's see what some of these younger guys can do. I mean, Oakland really prides themselves on that 510 project that they have going on. It's their academy system. So many of these guys actually get minutes. You just don't see that in a lot of these academy programs here in the USL. They might say, yeah, we have an academy, but they'll only come in to the USL Open Cup game. But they've had a couple of guys here who have actually had a ton of starts.
And Katie, take us through what's going to be key here for San Antonio FC in this matchup if they are to avoid that second consecutive loss.
Right, so they're going to have to stay compact, stay touch tight on defense. I mean, there's been a couple of times where that's kind of gotten away from them, and having a new back line back there, they're just going to have to communicate really effectively. In the final third, get a little more creative. You're now playing a possession style game. That means you need movement, you need to arch the runs, just be a little more creative in getting into those hard spaces. As for Oakland, track those runners in the box. It's the common denominator for them time after time here this season. Not tracking runners, a bit of ball watching. And then on the offensive, just try to spread that back line. You know that's the weakness here for San Antonio in this game, so try to create spaces there between the three and the back.
First foul of the match comes on the home side. Take back control here. You mentioned Alan Marcina. Saw him just moments ago. Coach Marcina, 5th season here as a head coach for SAFC, 6th season overall. Won nearly 70 matches through these first 5 seasons. And of course, we're just into season number 5. 67 victories against 26 losses, 35 draws. And so after that first season back in San Antonio, of course, his days in SA from several years ago after he's back with San Antonio FC, really a lot of success and leading SAFC to not only the title 2 years ago, but 4 consecutive playoff berths and the best record among all USL Western Conference teams since 2020.
A lot of this San Antonio FC identity, you can thank Coach Marcina for bringing that. He has a leadership team, has his players hold themselves accountable. It's the way it really should be. Tons of coaching philosophies that these guys don't only apply and implement here, but they take on to other programs with them because it's just those basic principles that he continues to push that you can really implement anywhere. It's not just here in the squad, but definitely that tough, rough around the edges identity that everyone just hates to play.
Timothy Cyril booting it out in goal tonight. Normally Paul Blanchette getting the start for Roots, but as Katie's mentioned, a lot of younger players, there's a whistle, a lot of younger players on the field tonight for Roots, and some thought, Katie, that perhaps it's because they have a big match coming up early in the week, which maybe defies some normal thought processes in terms of which you prioritize, but a big match for them coming against on Tuesday against Seattle in a U.S. Open Cup match.
Right, and I think it's kind of a big deal for them because also the Oakland A's just announced that they are going to leave, and the San Jose Earthquakes owns the Oakland A's, so that means it's a really big opportunity for Oakland Roots here to make a name for themselves, to try to show up as their best against San Jose, and so that means giving these academy guys some time here, giving the other guys who are just coming back from injury a bit of a rest to kind of show up and bring their best there against San Jose. It does seem strange to prioritize a U.S. Open Cup game over a USL game, but at the end of the day, that's why you have these guys on the roster in the first place, is so that you can lean on them, and that's some good pressure there from Omar, another young guy there for San Antonio FC.
Yeah, Omar really, first good look you could say for San Antonio FC, didn't really amount to much, but first time either team really looked like they were posing any kind of a threat.
You know what's nice about these young academy players getting their start here is that they are hungry and they want to prove something. And so when you have guys like that on the field, you know that they're going to at least give their 100%. And that also means that San Antonio might need to watch out for their ankles and things like that, because a lot of times it's doesn't matter who's standing in their way, right, when they're young like that. But of course, let's give it some time. Let's see. It's kind of clean here.
From one side to the other, an opportunity here early, potentially, no.
Still a great look. Something a little bit different than what we've seen from San Antonio, and I think partly that's because there are lots of spaces there in the 18. As I had mentioned in my keys, is that in past games, whether it's academy players or not, they haven't been tracking so well. They haven't been touch tight, giving a little bit too much space on the ball. And quite a few times that ball rolls through the 5 or even the PK line, and there's just nobody really there to intercept it. And that just can't happen if you're going to play here in the USL Championship. So you saw a little bit of that there. And so I think you can expect San Antonio FC to continue to try to put a driven ball over the 5. I think they're going to have some success there.
Well, don't be surprised if they score early. SAFC scored 12 goals so far this season through these 8 matches. 4 of those 12 goals have come in the first 15 minutes of play. So a team that strikes early, Katie, in terms of right when the ball's kicked off, they're ready to go.
Hit the nail on the head there. I mean, within the first 10, 15 minutes, it kind of gives you a pretty good idea of the kind of game we're going to see from SAFC. It's a good save from Agudelo.
Well, I was going to say the same thing, and I thought it looked by the naked eye like maybe he was a little late, and he was. The whistle came a little bit late. So a goal kick coming.
Worth the effort.
Very much worth the effort. We mentioned Sorel in for Paul Blanchette. Blanchette, a name very familiar for a lot of you around here. Previously the keeper for Rio Grande Valley FC, but not in goal tonight as he gives way to Cyril.
Yeah, Cyril has been the backup keeper this entire season. So despite coming from the 510 project, it's really like it's just kind of the backup keeper more than it is an academy player here, because he's done so well to prove himself. Signed in May of last season off an academy contract.
Here's Hernandez, Jorge. Now they feed in some cross. And that one's going to go out of bounds and over to Roots.
You can see the regret from Shannon Gomez on that one. And good thing is that they're getting into those spaces. They're getting the ball off. I think you can see that the momentum is kind of tipping in favor of SAFC here. It's just, getting a little more accurate with those passes.
Well, one of the things that Coach Alan Marcina talked with us about leading up to this match was a little bit of a change of philosophy leading into this season. Possession becoming more of a point of emphasis for the home side in the way they play. Normally a team that, big in terms of the vertical game, but wanting to get more possession as you see an opportunity here potentially for Roots. Cross, no. Headed out.
I mean, it was a great drive into the box there. Just looks like he ran into a little bit too much traffic trying to get that one through. And again, San Antonio, whether it's their first string or second string defense, they're pretty good at shutting things down. And I would say also that between Lambert and Boney, Lambert is always on the full. Trovo Boney.
There's one on Canelo here. Shot on goal. We have our first of the night, or do we?
It's looking like they're going to call that one offside.
Yes. They're going to say that Show was offside. Another look, Katie.
Have a look back on that. Yeah, offside all day long by a couple of feet, but it's still a sneak peek of, I think, what could potentially be imminent here for San Antonio. Good thing is they're getting into some good scoring position and looks at the goal. I mean, had he been just a couple feet in the opposite direction, it still would have been dangerous.
See Lucas working here.
A key guy there on that left wing. He's really just dominated. Another guy who's kind of always in the mix on the play. It might be Jorge Hernandez who has the final pass into the mix, but really it's Lucas Silva who also plays a huge role there.
Now toward our side, Roots looking to mount something for what would essentially be first time in this match. Possession thoroughly dominated by the home side to start tonight. Slide tackle there, knocking out of bounds.
I mean, they seem to be doing good to be patient. You know, they weren't trying to drive through a San Antonio FC back line in midfield who was already set there in the box. They brought it back. They cooked it a bit, and then they tried to put it back in. But you can see some of the nerves out there. You can see, you know, a forced first touch that maybe wasn't super clean, but they made something from it. But that just happens when you're getting out here and you're in this environment.
Our first corner of the night will be taken by Trayvon Reed. As Roots get set, you saw Pablo Cisniega goal for SAFC moments ago. 2 clean sheets coming into the season. He started every single match so far in 2024. So the kick go long.
Just a bit too much there on that one. You know, sometimes those San Antonio FC supporters' drums can be a bit deafening.
And you wonder, Katie, if maybe that, not your first set piece, not really materializing the way you wanted it, how much that has to do with the fact that some of these guys really don't get a whole lot of training time together in terms of out on the field at the same time.
This is true, but it's Trayvon Reed there. He's had a couple of minutes, probably should have put that one in, but it could be a result of this momentum here. Sometimes you get in your head, you know, okay, I'm playing with some young guys, we got to make this perfect, and then by putting all that pressure on yourself, it becomes far less than perfect.
Mentioned San Antonio FC coming off that tough loss to Miami FC. Before that, a 3-1 victory at Hartford Athletics. This the first home match since a scoreless draw versus Orange County SC. That came off a loss to Las Vegas Lights SC. Before that, back-to-back wins against Monterey Bay and Colorado Switchbacks. Of course, he started the season with 2 draws, both with the same 2-2 score against Loudoun United FC and then Tampa Bay in a home and road combo to start 2024.
Right, and then firing of head coach Delgado right after that loss to Colorado Springs, I think just throws a monkey wrench into the entire situation for everybody here. So just kind of a strange makeup for this Oakland team right now. Feels very much like a transitionary period. Not a ton of turners coming back. Really only 3 guys coming back for the 4th season and then 2 for their 5th season. So it's kind of a mix of youth and, you know, veteran leadership out here today.
Here on our side, Roots in possession, taken though by Omar. Mohammed now looking to get something guarded, gets it out to the far side. There's Shannon Gomez. As SAFC, we talked about that possession, patience here, looking to create an opportunity. As we're, I was just going to say, as we're just over 12 minutes in a scoreless match.
I mean, as you can see there, Oakland kind of sitting back, not really taking the bait that San Antonio wants them to. And you had spoken earlier about this new style and formation. Hold that thought.
There's Agudelo giving chase. out of play, though.
And we've seen that a couple of times here. This season is just trying to put it forward, a little bit too much pace on the ball. The run is late. And so with that being said, they are still very much trying to figure out what's going on up there in the attacking third. I really like Machoke Scholl there in that left kind of striker type position. I think he adds a lot there with creative runs.
Here's Omar. Working inside. And now it's Lucas. And headed out. You see San Antonio FC continuously on the attack here, Katie. They definitely the aggressors in the early going.
Right, and with that service into that really far back post, that's kind of the spot that Mitch Tainer loves to be in. And so I think that's another hard part when you've got your super vocal captain not on the field and you know he's in certain spots, and then you have that muscle memory of putting it to that same spot every time and then he's not there. It's just tough. And so some things for them to figure out here.
Jorge Hernandez, 3 assists shy of breaking the club record. The corner. That one short, knocked out by Juan Agudelo. And so possession going back over to Oakland.
Just going back to San Antonio's formation, as you'd mentioned last season, they were way more direct. They're a team that liked to get out in transition, and they were really successful in doing that. They had a couple of nuances that made them really unique, but then people started picking up on that. Hence, Marcina decided to make a change, go with more of a possession-based approach to see if he could kind of try to change things up. And I would say it's doing okay here, but what I like most about his decision to kind of change things up is that they can go right back into that vertical direct style at any time, and they do it so well. Yes, there's a lot of new faces, but you know, I think the principles don't really change, you know, and so we've seen it a game or two here where they kind of went back with the more direct approach, trying to get out in transition, but they're still trying to stick to that possession style game.
And it's interesting because when you've had so much success, I think a lot of folks would say, hey, you know, the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Coach Marcina is saying it's been something he's been wanting to do for a while. The timing of things didn't allow him to do it heading into last season, which is when he actually wanted to do it, to start last season. And so settling in on making the change, and I say change relatively speaking, right? Because as you mentioned, the core principles don't change. You're just tweaking here and there, but it's something he wanted to do coming in to 2024.
Yeah, it's all very subtle, and a lot of times you'll see them in a 3-5-2, which makes it easier for them to kind of tap into those outside wingers and really make that possession style soccer feel easier. But when you have them here in a 3-4-3, it makes it a little bit more difficult. It means your wingers have to get really wide. They're doing extra work. Your center middies are doing extra work just to try to cover some ground and stay compact. So we'll see what they're able to do here. Good thing is Oakland is staying pretty well connected. Something that new interim head coach Gavin had mentioned. He wanted them to have a little more cohesiveness, and I could see what he meant there. There were times where the center midfielders were not connecting to the back line, and there were a lot of goals that resulted from that, but they seem to be moving as a unit pretty well here.
Yeah, Gavin Glinton, first game match as a head coach since taking over for Noah Delgado, who was released last week. And so with that in mind, having to take the trip to San Antonio and, okay, taking on one of the most successful franchise in the USL over the last 4 years. What a welcome to the league for Gavin, although he's been an assistant with Roots here. For him to take the reins and to do it in this environment against his team, not the easiest task. That one fed in, but no one there for the home side.
You know, it really says something when you have that kind of belief on every guy on your roster. So many teams will only circulate through the top 18, but Oakland isn't doing that, and I think it's because they're thinking long-term for the future of their team. They realize there's a lot of changes, they've got a lot of youth, and so it's better to just get them experience now despite the environment.
Roots here with the throw-in.
Babukar, interesting story about him. Actually has a red card in the U.S. Open Cup, but with Phoenix, his previous club, and so that means in the San Jose game he will not be able to play, despite having come over here to the Oakland Roots.
Yeah, kind of frustrating on his behalf, right? Say, hey, wait a second.
But I think that's fair, right?
Yes.
Because it's
Yeah.
like he was the one who committed the foul. It wasn't the organization.
Right.
So.
Right.
Talk about carrying those mistakes with you, you know?
You see Jorge Hernandez there in the middle of that conversation. Jorge, we mentioned he's 3 assists shy of the club record. His 4 assists for the year, tied for the lead league. Jorge always one of the more prolific assist guys, not only for San Antonio FC, but across the entire league. Cross, headed out.
Too bad, could have been something good there for Oakland.
Now coming from the other side, you see Kevin Lambert there, staying, not allowing that to progress any further. Lambert, a young man from Jamaica, goes 6'2", 181. As Roots now looks to operate in close proximity, nothing there though, and booted out. An opportunity for Juan Agudelo, but a whistle, and that one going back to Roots. Yeah, crowd obviously reacting in a way you'd expect them to.
Right. We have to look back at that because it almost looked like a tactical foul here. Let's see. It's a good service out of pressure, and I don't know how that wasn't a foul to begin with, because it looked like quite the bear hug, and then it was Agudelo who had to kind of elbow him off, so to speak.
It's a Roots defender, Camden Riley, number 5 moments ago, the beneficiary of that call.
Camden Riley, one of those guys that coach is relieved to have back in the lineup as well. Probably getting minutes here, has not been available for quite some time.
So an opportunity of the aforementioned Riley right there making that play. Here's Show, excuse me. Agudelo trying to get through. Almost did. And that would all go into Roots' way as well.
Yeah, this crowd is about to start throwing their lightsabers out on the field if we're not careful. Let's look back at this. Agudelo trying to take on not 2 but 3 guys. He beats 2, and then, yeah, I don't know that that's necessarily a foul. It looked like he was falling to begin with.
Right.
But again, this is why I'm not a referee.
Well, I was going to say, to the naked eye, you look at that and you go, well, at the very most, you don't blow the whistle on that, but they did.
Well, it could have been avoided had some of these center mids got up there and given him a passing lane so he didn't have to take on 2 guys. I think that was part of the problem too, and just still learning to move as a unit.
Omar. Knocked out of bounds.
Really?
See, Omar and Agudelo, Katie, been very, very active here in the early going.
That they have. I'm liking this combination with Bura and Mohamed Omar. They're in the middle of the park. They're just reading really well. They're filling the space as well. And that's the silver lining of when you have guys go down on injury, is sometimes you get people who show up and kind of earn a spot, you know. Of course, Marcina believes Kevin Lambert there with the ball is the best defensive center midfielder in the league, so he'll probably be getting his spot back as soon as Mitch can make his way back in the lineup.
Lambert, another guy who has started every single match for San Antonio FC this season. They work it over to Lucas here on our side. It's Trevor Boney. SAFC looks to set things up. Turnover.
That could have been a really good opportunity to put it over the top. I know they don't love to go with the long ball in this kind of system, but that would have been an opportunity for sure to get him behind the back line.
Unforced error there for Roots, and so San Antonio FC regains possession.
Looks like Lucas is down with a knock here.
And some trainers tending to Lucas.
He can use the force to
perhaps
bring his health back.
Maybe a little bit of a Jedi mind trick.
Yeah, the Star Wars anecdotes are probably going to drive most of you crazy by the end of this.
Well, tonight is May the 4th night. A week from tonight, it's Military Appreciation Night here at Toyota Field. For tickets, and at SAFC.com. Of course, the season presented by Toyota as we honor the men and women who bravely served and continue to serve our country. Las Vegas Lights FC in that night, 1 week from tonight. Again, same start as tonight, the usual 7:30, Military Appreciation Night. As we honor our brave men and women of the armed forces. And again, tickets available for a game a week from tonight. So we have our first substitution of the match coming.
Cameron Lacey in for Lucas. It's a tough one to lose here early on.
Cameron Lacey goes 5'8", 192. Miami, Florida native. Cameron played in 7 of the team's 8 matches coming in. That includes 2 starts, an assist for the season, 9 shots, 4 of them on goal, as Omar throws in following Lacey's entrance into the match.
A lot of Jamaicans out here tonight, including Cameron Lacey, who's on the U17 Jamaican national team.
Agudelo with the header there that reaches Cerrado, who easily gathers. Yeah, and so you mentioned, I didn't mean to step on you, Katie, but we've talked throughout the match is some pressure there. Cyril able to get it away, but right away, Lacey coming in and making his presence known, applying the pressure, making what was supposed to be, and we would think is normally a routine play, anything but. And Cameron wasting no time, getting right to work.
He really has been hot off the bench the times that he has had to come off the bench, and you could just see his desire and his passion to probably try to get back into that starting lineup, but he just does so well. He brings a huge burst of energy, definitely a game changer off the bench, a super sub, I would say. And I think it's because of that high pressure mentality that he brings. Kind of has a tank that doesn't end.
Well, what I was going to say moments ago was we've talked about how shorthanded this SAFC squad is tonight, and now sans Lucas.
Right, and Lucas is what a fantastic turn.
Lacey talked about making his presence known, cuts inside, shot, stopped by Soro. Boy, put it on repeat, wasting no time getting right into the act.
I mean,
another look, Katie.
What a beautiful turn, and then just to stand up the defender, to have the wherewithal to get that cut in and just get a shot off. Didn't test Cyril too hard there, but Cyril collected nonetheless, and it's kind of feeling like a matter of time here for Cameron Lacey.
And it feels like a matter of time for SAFC as well.
This is really the energy that San Antonio needed injected to them here at this point.
Lacey providing that spark as Roots comes back the other way, and that one knocked out of bounds. Whistle called instead. And a kick coming for Oakland. You see Lambert, mentioned him, Katie, moments ago. Young man who Coach Marcinez says is the best midfielder in the entire league. High praise from a man who knows the game and has had so much success here in San Antonio.
And speaking of, Jamaican national team, he is another one of those guys. 27 caps on the Jamaican national team. Then you have Cameron Lacey, played on the U17, U20 team. And then who are they marking? No other than Trayvon Reed, who's also from Kingston, Jamaica. So taken over by the reggae boys here.
A lot of Jamaican flavor on the field is Omar. Gets in his shoal. Work it back to Kendall Burks. Far side, it's Lambert.
So essentially they're trying to create some spaces here through the middle to get the ball in and out. Some good pressure right there. It forced the turnover, but it just has to be better if you're going to try to build out of the back in that way. And something that San Antonio struggled with is the pace out of the back. They've got to be faster with those passes. Not the best tackle there from Ashok Shoal.
No. Officials agree. Yeah, Burroughs saying no, 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 but officials disagreeing, and ultimately that's what matters.
They all have to disagree, you know.
Right.
You're not
Part
fighting
of the
the
process.
ref. You're not fighting the ref. Are you even trying here? But yeah, definitely a tackle from behind. Send Cherie down to the pitch. Good to see him pop right back up. And here's a good opportunity for them here. Good chance for them to get numbers up, create chaos there. At the top of the 18.
There's the kick. Headed out. And it's Agudelo.
Not mad about that placement or the bend, just couldn't get on the end of it. Kendall Burks.
On our side, go ahead.
I was going to say Kendall Burks driving it up like that. It almost wish that Cameron Lacey maybe could have checked in. It was a shorter pass there right to the top. Again, direct style of play, but you know sometimes you can really bypass all that side-to-side movement.
Agudelo getting the call, and here he is. Looking to operate. Look in the center. Now out to Hernandez. He does. And booted out. There's Boney here. Lambert. Inside to Gomez. Talked about U.S. Open Cup, Katie. San Antonio FC also another one coming up. In terms of that competition is an opportunity, another shot. That one does reach goal, but again, Cyril there to stop it. And guess who? And who came in just moments ago, Cameron Lacey firing that one.
Cameron Lacey wants to get on the stat sheet. Look at that, not even looking at the goal, just having awareness, was able to find that peg. It would have been really pretty had it gone into the opposite low 90, but Cyril doing a great job actually of just positioning himself at all the right times. A lot of these young keepers, you see, they just fail to get their feet set in the right time, but he's doing a great job. You can see why he's back up. And who knows what might happen after this.
I was going to say. Boney. And you know, it's interesting. Alan Marcina talked about the uncertainty that comes with facing a new head coach. Here's Hernandez. Agudelo. Keeping possession. Back to Omar. And now they reset.
Almost would have loved to see Jorge Hernandez had taken that one from far outside the 18. He's capable of it. And I know when you're playing in a possession-based style, it's first nature to kind of go back to the back line and keep kind of cooking it and trying to find seams in. But I think if Mohamed Omar can kind of pick up on moving faster, being that next guy to be open in the passing lane, he might have even had a look at it there too. But it's those kinds of moments where you have to be really on your toes, thinking quick.
You see Kendall Burks getting it over to Lambert. Again, SCFC, as we've talked about. No hurry sometimes.
And it looks like Cameron Lacey has dropped Machob Shoal there into the center of the park. So now Mohamed Omar is the winger.
Speaking of, Omar. Centers. Opportunity. Lacey. Knocked away. Fighting on this side's Trovaboni. Here comes Roots. Down the line. Hit it in and looking to center. Nothing there, and SAFC able to thwart that attack.
Really too bad, Nadir Cherie. Beautiful run. I mean, great stuff getting up there into the corner, but you can see the field got him. I don't know if it was the ankle or the knee, but some sort of tweak occurred. I don't want to speculate, but definitely has him down.
Well, Show was looking for Juan Agudelo on the other side of the field. The pass a little too long, and so it went harmlessly out of bounds. So when play does resume, it'll be Roots with possession. But so far, Katie, your thoughts here on a young, inexperienced, kind of mismatched team for Roots so far, playing SAFC, maybe not evenly in terms of opportunities, but at the end of the day on the scoreboard, still got zeros.
Yeah, I think they're doing well. You can see there in that replay that he did tweak the ankle. Good to see him up and moving, but it was that type of play into the corner that they've found a ton of success on up until this point, getting goals on the sheet. They get up into the corner, they give a driven ball to the 5, and they usually have a late runner or someone else causing chaos there in the box and get it off into the net. So I hate to see that as they're starting to get that momentum going with such a young squad doing so well to even get in the attacking third for SAFC, that it goes down like that. Lesson there for San Antonio is, don't blink. Don't always have to make the tackle. Sometimes it's reading the play a little bit earlier, dropping, staying in communication with your back line so they don't get up there in the corner in the first place. But yeah, it kind of feels like San Antonio should maybe have a goal by now. And I think it's partially beginning to highlight the struggles there for them in the attacking third, is very clearly out-possessing here Oakland, 62.9 to 37.1%.
Yeah. 2/3 possession advantage for the home side. You see Oakland has yet to attempt the shot compared to the 2 by San Antonio, as we're set to get back to play. A throw-in coming for Roots. There's Lambert. Look at the center. Inside that one taken by Searle, and quickly gets it out.
I'd like to see him taking those chances. Good to see Shannon Gomez reading that and dropping there for him.
That's intercepted. Here's Lambert.
And that's a mark of someone who has played outside back. You can read that ball as it's coming and intercept. Great stuff there from Lambert. Kind of, once again, becoming one of those utilitarian players. Really tough to see Hawkinson not in the lineup today, because he was one of those guys you can put him anywhere, whether it's striker, center, midfielder, center back. I would say probably everything but keeper, but he'd probably give it his best if he had to.
There's Show getting it back to Lambert. Work it to the other side. Our side here to Trovaboni now, who's feeds it over to Omar. There's Lacey. Heading into the 38th minute. SAFC looking for its first goal. There's Lacey. The high aggression continues for Cameron. It's taken. SAFC back with it now.
You're doing well to stay compact, and it's just really hard to get out in transition here when you're moving it along the back line at this pace. And it's just giving them time to really sit back and wait for a 1v1 challenge or some quick tiki-taka.
There's Lacey trying to find Hernandez there. but taken by Roots, and now Oakland looking for an opportunity of its own. Oakland squad that comes in 2-5-1, 1-2 on the road. For the season, they've scored 7 goals, 14 goals against, among the worst goal differential in the league. And so a team that's struggling all the way around, and with that, the dismissal of their head coach, Noah Delgado. So Gavin Clinton, in his first match as interim head coach, as it would stand to reason, coaching changes happening midway through a season or early on in a season when a team is not performing well. And that's what's been the case out in Northern California.
Silver lining is you can only go up from there, right? So I love to see that he's taking a chance on these young guys, and they're holding up here. 39 minutes in against San Antonio FC at home. They can pat themselves on the back.
Now, that being said, it's not a healthy, a fit SAFC side either, but yes, credit where credit is due in terms of what Oakland is going through these days. Fernandez tries to operate, now 2 defenders, tries to split them, he can't.
Something that does help these 510 or Project 510 Academy players is that most of them are around the 6 foot or higher mark. 5'8", 6'1", 3 guys at 6'1", so they at least are physically built. Half the time that's a challenge when you're younger moving into this league, is you've got 18-year-olds versus 30-year-olds at times, and just a very different biological makeup, muscle mass.
You could see Shannon Gomez looking to create, and all he did was create an ouchie. Look at this. Right off the face.
You know what's interesting?
That can't feel good for Babukar Naji.
No, not at all. He, the good thing is that he met the ball. A lot of times when people are hit in the face, the ball, when you let the ball hit you, that's when the brain kind of feels like it's knocking around inside the cranium. But good thing is he met the ball, and that might help him to kind of pop back up here. I've had it before where the opposite happened, and I had a pretty tough concussion. I've had it both from the front and the back of my head, so multiple concussions over here. So if I mess something up, that's why. I'm kidding. But
the after effects still linger.
Yes, yeah.
Well, we've talked about Cameron Lacey making his presence known. SAFC's got 2 shots on goal. They both come courtesy of Mr. Lacey, who came in the 25th minute. One of them right there, you see Timothy Searle able to gather that one, and then the one we saw moments ago where Lacey wasn't even looking but attempted the shot. So 2 shots on goal already for the substitute, who's wasting no time, in our first yellow card of the match. Goes against Oakland Roots SC.
It's a good spot for San Antonio to try to make something. I've seen Jorge Hernandez put it away from this distance, so let's see what he can do here. But I mean, Cameron Lacey, he's doing such a good job. I hope he holds on to that energy throughout the remainder of the game. We'll have a look back at this foul. And yeah, right into the ankles. No ball in sight here.
Edgar Cruz, the recipients of the yellow.
The Academy product from Modesto, California.
All right, here we go. Here's Jorge Hernandez. 12 shots, 2 of them on goal so far for the season. And given his history, Katie, as you mentioned, opportunity here, a great one for San Antonio FC to get on the board first. There's the whistle. There's Hernandez. Well, you could see what he was thinking there, trying to go back post, and just thwarted by Oakland.
Again, another one of those spots where they're pretty much always looking for Mitch Tainer to come in. We've seen a goal that Kevin Lambert had with that exact play. Ball was to that spot. Mitch Tainer heads it to the 5, or to the end line, and Lambert just taps it in. So again, just some growing pains here. Trying to work with what they've got in the lineup. Might need a little bit more height on that backside to make that happen.
Mohamed Omar to Hernandez, back to Trovaboni. Nearing the 45th minute, scoreless match. SAFC thoroughly dominating in terms of possession, but nothing to show on the scoreboard just yet against the Roots team. Whistle there. That, as we've talked about throughout the broadcast, experiencing all kinds of troubles throughout the 2024 campaign thus far.
Feels like truly a San Antonio FC game. Lots of guys spending time on the grass there. That's why they do lead the league in fouls. But I could say it's going both ways. Some good sportsmanship after the fact. Yeah, just 2 hands on the back. Wouldn't give it a card, but definitely a set piece here.
We saw another look there at it. Everyone appearing to be okay. It looks like we're having 5 minutes of stoppage time added now that we're into the 45th minute of the first half. So 5 minutes of stoppage time as the home side now gets it to throw it in.
5 minutes to tip the scales here. Definitely want to have a goal going into half.
It's Trovaboni here on our side. Looking for Lacey. Lost the battle there in terms of trying to gain possession. And so on the far side now, it's Roots, Katie.
Yeah, Boney kind of doing everything he can there just to kind of handle that ball and get it out. I think all things considered, did a pretty good job just to clear that one. Things were looking kind of sketchy there for a bit, but SAFC back with it here. I kind of like what Kendall Burks did prior to that foul. He was kind of driving there towards the center midfielders, found Agudelo's feet. If they can do more of that, could maybe open up some seams in behind. He also had Shannon Gomez wide open too.
Well, no whistle there, and as a result, Roots, when I see no whistle moments ago, it looked like Hernandez took an elbow, causing him to head to the turf. Crowd wanted a whistle. There is a whistle now. A little bit too late for the fans' liking. SAFC will take possession now. As we near 2 minutes or so here of stoppage time, and as Katie mentioned, SAFC looking for that go-ahead goal into the intermission.
It feels like there's a bit of indecisiveness on both sides here tonight. Even with San Antonio having spent a good amount of time there in the other half, it just seems like can't quite execute here. Bit of hesitation.
There's Hernandez dancing around. Now centers. Cyril's there as he has been all match long.
It's a good read from Cyril. Sticky gloves. Doing good.
Lacey was there ready to pounce if that one got through by Cyril. No surprise there. Juan Agudalo in as well. But Timothy Cyril's played well.
He has, and it feels like he needs almost a little more pressure on him. If you're SAFC, yeah, you had Lacey right there, but Harding was probably just getting up and in the box in time. It's a good cover from Mohamed Omar.
Yeah, nice recovery after having lost it moments ago, then retaining possession, and now the throw-in coming in for the home side. That one's still in. Roots being able to keep it inbound, now in the center of the field. Looking for their first shot on goal. There it is. What a save! If not for Pablo Cisniega, this is 1-0 the other way. And Pablo is down, Katie.
Yeah. Trayvon Reed with the ultimate pulse check. He gets into space. He gets the ball off. Cisniega fully stretched out, and it's looking like his hip or his back there, the way it lands. But my goodness, one heck of an outstretched play there from Cisniega, keeping San Antonio in this game. I mean, when you talk about guys who really want it, Trayvon Reed, he has been relentless. He's been driving at the back line. He finally got into the middle. It looks like he's finding his sweet spot. Got one off, but Cisniega, another guy that Alan Marcina does not want to see out of this. In preseason, he mentioned Cisniega was just that guy who he surprises even in the USL Championship to begin with, and it saves just like that, which validate that comment. Because the way he's able to get stretched out, it's the opposite arm over to pop that ball over the top post. That's next level stuff.
Trayvon Reed almost had his third goal of the season. You see Pablo able to get back up on his feet, and you see he's rubbing that right hip area, and that's exactly where he landed. And Pablo's played, we mentioned this at the beginning of the broadcast, he's played and started every single match for SAFC. So if it would have, Kendall McIntosh is the backup, but it looks like Pablo is okay, staying in there and barking out directions here as Roots gets set for an opportunity here from the corner. Headed out. Nice job for SAFC getting that one out of trouble, especially in the waning moments of this first half. With us in stoppage time. Pablo handling that one with relative ease and then punting it away.
Good to see he's able to get up and meet the ball there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you have a hip injury, that's what hurts, is that big
right.
jump.
Yeah, excellent point, Katie. That's if that hip was extremely tender right now, that's a move that doesn't come automatically. You think twice before leaving your feet like that. Now, there's something to be said for adrenaline, right?
Right.
But Pablo, so far, so good. Now, he's going to feel it tomorrow. But right now, in the moment, looking okay. There's one out with that, or there's a whistle.
And, you know, a keeper is such an integral position that if you can push through the pain in these last 4 minutes and give the other keeper a chance to actually warm up and get in the second half, then that can make all the difference. He seems to be okay to push through, but, you know, you never know until half rolls around and that second half starts. But Kendall McIntosh up and ready. The keepers, they just need so much more to prepare and get warm than the typical player.
Off the kick, head, and then knocked out by Kendall Burks. And with that, we are through the first 45 minutes officially of half number one. It's a half that's seen San Antonio FC dominate possession, but Oakland doing just enough to keep the home side at bay. And so, through a half, right here at Toyota Field, scoreless between Roots and SAFC right here on Valley Sports.
Hi, sports fans. I'm Jeff Davis. Going head-to-head with insurance companies is no easy game. It requires determination, gamesmanship, and grit. That's why you need Davis Law Firm on your side. With over 25 years' experience, our team of around 150 in 7 Texas cities has a winning track record of verdicts and settlements, many in the millions of dollars. And just like your favorite team, we play to win. If you're hurt in a car, truck, or commercial vehicle accident, call us at 444-4444. So if you want more, call the fours.
What would you do if you won a big jackpot? Buy a new car, take a vacation, pay off your house. Turn your dreams into reality at Texas' premier entertainment destination, Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino Hotel in Eagle Pass, Texas.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can start it with a splash. With a play date at a park. Or at a party with friends. Or at an epic water balloon fight. Gotcha!
Right now, qualified lessees can lease a rugged new 2024 Tundra SR5 for $449 a month for 36 months. Offer ends June 3rd.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
For me, I'm still trying to get to know the guys more, and even myself, like I've been out for quite some time. Yeah, this is really the first few weeks here are like some of my first real sessions that I've had since maybe September. So I'm still trying to get back into it myself. Feels good for sure. My body's still getting used to it for sure. So, but I'm very happy, and I'm happy to be here at this club, and I'm glad that they gave me this opportunity. And I feel like I'm here. I can provide a little bit of experience, and we have some very good young players, academy players, as well as older players. And I think just trying to give them a bit of what I've learned, and also learning from them is, that's what I came here to do. So.
Here they come on the attack. Switch to the left side. Here's Silva open, puts it on goal. Header is a goal! Silva with the setup, and Muchap Chol.
Beckford on one side and Ingalina on the other. I've got to get back and help better. You cannot allow Lucas Silva the time to deliver. This is a former MLS player who played for Atlanta United back in 2021. You can't allow him to get space inside the box.
Welcome back. Valley Sports, San Antonio FC, and Oakland Roots FC scoreless at the intermission right here at Toyota Fields.
Go get it, Doug.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
They're hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer. They want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes when we walk past. Everybody never lied, we'll settle for less. Gotta look into the sky, got me feeling blessed. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest. Burning up inside of my chest. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Distance, oh, what an effort, and it's special.
Machoma fires!
Looks great.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Mertz again trying to play in Deepa. Deepa's in behind! Deepa's open the scoring!
Chest it down! Oh, that is spectacular! It's a cup set for Union Omaha!
Kassim cutting inside, and there is cup set magic in the air tonight!
Saved by video! Rodrigo Lopez! It's improbable! It's indomitable! It's another cup set!
Scoreless first half right here at Toyota Field between the home side, San Antonio FC, and Oakland Roots SC. But it's a match that, even though the scoreboard indicates it's evenly played, Katie Goodman, anything but if you look at time of possession and in terms of opportunities and shots on goal, because as far as that's concerned, it's been all San Antonio FC. A look at how this one is played out for the home side through these first 45 plus minutes. An opportunity early on, or it appeared. It was not because of an offside call on matchup show. It looked early like, here we go, SAFC's off and running. It was called back, though, Katie, because he was not in legal play.
Right, and you know, these are the kind of moments where you think, oh, they're going to have another early goal here. What a great turn from Agudelo and a finish from Scholl. But then after that, they just couldn't quite connect the dots. So you can dominate all day long in possession, but if you're not putting it in the back of the net, then you're still 0-0 at half. But still lots of great effort here. Even Kevin Lambert getting up in the attack despite playing that outside back roll. And then it's Reed here who really tests Niega. And now we're wondering, is he going to be available for the second half? We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And then Cameron Lacey, we saw him within those highlights. He came in at the 25th minute and right away went right to work. Has the 2 shots on goal, or the first 2 for San Antonio FC. Neither one wins, but you get the feeling. We've talked about this. It's just a matter of time. They're going to get one eventually. You would hope. You have those fingers crossed. To look at the numbers behind the numbers in a scoreless match to this point, the statistics brought to you here by HEB. You see the shots, 2 by Cameron Lacey, the 1 for Roots. Shots on target, the same. Possession, nearly 2/3 domination by SAFC. See the crosses there. Big advantage again. They're doubling essentially Roots. You see the tackles there, 9-5. And so all in all, Katie, great effort by SAFC in terms of the numbers. We just haven't seen it translate on the scoreboard just yet.
Right. All in all, possession is good. I think it could be higher considering there's so much youth out there on the field. But Trayvon Reed has really kind of been spearheading things. You can tell he's a veteran. He's been running at the back line. You saw that huge pulse check there with Pablo Cisniega. But for San Antonio, they've got to get a little more creative in the attack. I think sometimes when you go into a game and you know, oh, their starters aren't in, then you kind of sit back and take it easy. You have to set the tone. This is the USL Championship. You're a team that is notorious for going to the playoffs and winning the whole dang thing, you know, so you want to go out there and play it like you have a chip on your shoulder and you want to win this one. I think Cameron Lacey came in there with that kind of attitude, and now it just needs to kind of spread across the rest of the squad.
All right, on this May the 4th night here at Toyota Field, you heard it from Princess Leia, SAFC needs more creativity in these second 45 minutes. Halftime continues right here on Bally Sports. You're watching San Antonio FC.
Who can tell me what they want to be when they grow up? Rico?
Are you seriously gonna have nachos for all?
Right now, you can get any large pizza for just $12 from Pizza Hut. Any pizza, any crust, $12. That means meat lovers, supreme, or create your own with any toppings, just $12. This deal won't last long, so order any way you want now.
When you shop or donate at Goodwill, you help create good jobs in our community. Visit goodwillsa.org/goodjob. Good job, everyone.
Lionel Richie. And Earth, Wind, and Fire. San Antonio. You're invited to sing a song all night long. For the first time ever, Lionel Richie and Earth, Wind, and Fire together in one magical night you don't want to miss. Frost Bank Center, June 4th. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com.
It was tax season in Dallas. Late one night, an accountant made a large deposit at Frost Bank. But it was meant for Other Bank. No problem. The next morning, a Frost banker took it to Other Bank and made the deposit for him? Really?
It happened.
Who does that? Those are some nice people.
Scoreless at the intermission right here at Toyota Field. Bally Sports, San Antonio FC, and Roots from Oakland SC. So far you see the score 0-0 through these first 45-plus minutes. Busy time around the USL Championship and beyond, because on Tuesday and Wednesday, Katie, U.S. Open Cup play starts for several teams around the league, including for the home side, San Antonio FC at Indy 11, a 7 o'clock start there on May the 8th. Also, we talked about how Oakland's going to take on Seattle coming Tuesday in their first U.S. Open Cup. How about around the U.S. in terms of guys making headlines? Boy, Markinich for Charleston Battery. What a run he is on right now.
I mean, 4 goals against Las Vegas Lights FC as a young guy. I mean, that is something else there. And then, U.S. Open Cup just gives all these guys an opportunity to try to vie for the next level and then show up big there, too.
Yeah, and so with that, the second 45 minutes of action are on the way next. When we come back, can SAFC get that goal or goals plural in order to get the win? We're back with the second half right here, Toyota Field. You're watching Valley Sports.
The Cantina Chicken Crispy Taco isn't just a late-night taco. It's a seasoned and slow-roasted chicken taco that pairs nicely with the new avocado verde salsa at any time. Introducing the new Cantina Chicken Crispy Taco, only at Taco Bell.
Who can tell me what they want to be when they grow up? Rico?
Are you seriously gonna have nachos for all?
As the HEB Boilmaster, I always get excited for the season because it's the most wonderful time of year for crawfish. And at HEB, we sell more crawfish in Texas than anyone. We're talking big, fresh, live Louisiana crawfish. Plus, with our in-store boils, we do the prepping, spicing, and cooking. So you can just pinch, pull, and be merry. HEB. Here, crawfish season is better.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can capture all the moments that make summer, summer. Like driving a RAV4 to wade in a waterfall.
Nice.
Cruising to play mini golf in a Camry. Or taking a Tundra to the beach.
You're not going to leave me here, are you?
Right now, qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 36 months on a rugged new 2024 Tundra. Offer ends June 3rd.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
San Antonio FC on Valley Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Go to buyatoyota.com or visit your local Toyota dealer today. Back in goal for San Antonio FC, Mr. Pablo Cisniega. And the reason I say back in goal, Katie, is right before the intermission, in making the save of the match. It was probably the play of the match, period, right here off the shot from Reed. Look at how he lands. Right on that right hip.
I agree with
kind
you.
of that upper buttocks area. And most of us have fallen in some way, shape, or form. And on that part of the body, it is not a pleasant experience. But here's Pablo back to start the second half. He's a gamer, not a surprise. But here he is, and a huge part of San Antonio FC and what they do. And it looks to this point for now that he'll be all right starting the second half.
Right, for me it would have been a I've fallen and I can't get up moment, but it's not the same for world-class athlete Pablo Cisniega. Good to see him back in it. You know that one hurt, but he had zero fear there, getting outstretched and then again remained fearless through the remaining couple minutes of the game and finished it out strong.
Pablo, a young man who hails from Mexico City, 28 years old, 2 clean sheets among his 8 starts for the home side here in 2024. That one sails way out of bounds, and SAFC here will get the throw in as we're just underway in half number 2.
It looks like they've stayed with their same starting lineup here. Not seeing any changes, at least not yet. And I think it says a lot about this team. They've done well, but you know San Antonio's going to come out here with the chip on their shoulder. Might feel different. And when you look at that 2-0 loss against Colorado Springs, they actually held them 0-0 up until the 71st minute. So this might be potentially where, you know, the table turns, is just that conditioning and seeing it out through the final minutes.
Here's Lacey. Inside. Omar there had some space. Couldn't quite get it to it. There's Scholl. And in looking at these two teams, these two clubs, I'm not trying to jinx anything here, but just the fact of the matter is, Oakland Roots SC has never beaten San Antonio FC. Not once. When you look at the series history and how they've fared against each other, 3-0-2 is the home side. We've got a corner kick coming, an opportunity here for the first goal of the match. Nice ball, but falls harmlessly in there, Searle. Here comes Roots. But continuing that thought, 3-0-2 is the all-time series record against Oakland for the home side. The last time they played ended in a draw. And so that was at the tail end of last season. It was 2-2 back on September 30th. Last win for SAFC in this head-to-head series a little more than a year ago, March 11th of 2023. And among those 3 victories against Roots, one in the playoffs for SAFC, beat them in the semifinals on the way to the 2022 USL Championship title.
All right, and both squads right now, 2 very different teams we're seeing here tonight. Not very many returners for San Antonio FC. Shannon Gomez being one of them. Mitch Tainer out was the other. And so, you know, it's just a very different squad on both sides. But even still, the record remains the same. And it's a record that both teams want to change and walk away with 3 points. Now, we did have a chance to talk to head coach Gavin Glinton, and he mentioned that something they've done well in this really tough season is just remain positive. And on the flip side, it's, you know, continuing to create continuity, stay versatile, and I think we've seen all of that here in this game today.
Juan Agudelo doing a fantastic job of keeping that one from going out of bounds. The header to keep it in eventually does make its way out of bounds, does the ball, but fantastic effort there by number 17. How about another look here at what just occurred? There's Cameron Lacey, as he's been throughout this match, in the middle of it. There's the elbow. You see his left elbow, and that's the cause.
He's trying to shield the ball. I think the elbow was unintentional.
Yeah.
I think that happens, and there's a lot of hand-holding out there as they're trying to both get to the ball, so I think that kind of comes with the territory. So good call there from the ref, just to put this one back in play here for San.
Yeah, we got it.
And it's been a rough night, Katie, for Babacar Najee. He's the same guy who got hit in the face with the ball earlier in the match off a kick. I think it was Hernandez who was trying to feed it in, and it hit Najee right in the face, and here he is moments later taking an elbow from Lacey.
Oh man, they're getting his money worth from him, that's for sure. Poor thing.
It's Trayvon Reed now on the turf. There you go, Lacey, very busy in the first half. Both shots on goal for SAFC coming courtesy of number 11.
I can sense a bit of frustration, which as a coach I would kind of prefer to see being 0-0 here at the half.
It's Reed. Set for the penalty kick. That one going that close. You see not much there as it makes its way aimlessly out of bounds, and SAFC, the goal kick coming for Cisniega.
One of those moments, I think, for game tape review when the 90 minutes are up here, just to take a look at that and see how they can kind of turn that around and fix it, because it's not often you're going to get a set piece there from San Antonio, and I guess that's not true, but you know, when you do get your set pieces, it's really important to take advantage of them for sure. I mean, they've had a couple now and could have converted that into something really dangerous.
I mentioned Reed getting set for the kick. It was Najee who ended up taking it. As Roots throws it in. Trying to fight for possession here. Across the line they come. There's Reed. Najee, cross. Kicked right out.
Really a good run there from Babukar. Again, we'd seen that in that right towards the tail end of that second half. You can see they're trying to recreate the same thing up there in the corner.
Yeah, Shannon Gomez doing a nice job moments ago of trying to establish possession, and eventually it does now come SAFC's way. Kendall Burks putting us back in play. It's Trevor Boney. And now back to Burks.
Looks like you've got Kevin Lambert there in the middle of the park again. Have Shannon, who's dropped now to more of that outside back role. It's a good beat from Jorge Hernandez.
Here comes Hernandez. Leaves. Opportunity. Cross. Almost there is one Agudelo. Oh boy, that was beautifully drawn up. Everything but the final click on the ball.
Oh, you know that one hurts. I mean, look at Hernandez working his magic. Lacey with the perfect run. He puts it right in front of the goal. Agudelo just can't get there. Oh, you know he's going to go to sleep. Probably won't sleep tonight actually thinking about that one, but so close, so far away. It can be tough sometimes when there's a bit of traffic there. You don't know if they're going to get the ball off or if they're going to try to go backside. So, again, I think that's what happens with a new team, is learning those kinds of moments and how your teammates react in those situations. But San Antonio can do that again, and that'll be great. I think part of that, too, is just having Kevin Lambert there again.
Here they come again. Agudelo, does he get another chance? No, he doesn't.
Starting to pick up here how to split that back line.
Yeah, Agudelo, moments ago on that beautiful leave by Lacey, almost coming up with his second goal. Could he have gotten there of the season? 20 shots on the year for Juan Agudelo, who hails from Manizales, Colombia.
And yellow for Mohamed Omar.
And Omar now with a yellow card. He's stunned.
Yeah, we're all saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Let's see this replay. So he's going for the ball, and it's a natural running motion for me. And it looks like when he swings his hand back, it happens to hit him in the face, but it doesn't look intentional. It's a natural running.
That's one of those where you preface it by saying, look, the officials have a tough job. That's the qualifier, right? They've got to deal with live action, whereas we get the benefit of replays and having a chance to review things and look at them over and over. That being said, you're absolutely right. That's a running motion. He's just simply trying to get up the field. That kind of contact, unintentional. And so for the yellow card to come out on that, I think very surprising is a nice way, generous way to put that.
Right. Matsoso, guy from Louisville City FC, also played for the New England Revolution in the MLS. And now here in the USL with Oakland. And you know, I think when you've played for a while, you learn what to pull and what not to. And I think he orchestrated that one perfectly.
Mohamed Omar.
I'm sure it hurt too.
A man who played his college ball at Notre Dame. Here's Reed. Has some space, comes back toward the middle. And then that one dribbles. The ball itself dribbled its way toward Pablo Cisniega. Handles it with ease.
Trayvon Reed with some really good pace. I think that's what's been the game changer there for Oakland, is he knows how to change that pace really quickly, and it's kind of a shock to the defense. They did a great job there of closing it down.
There's Trevor Boney there on the far side. had Scholl back to Boney. And now the ball finds its way back to Cisniega. Kendall Burks now. Scoreless as we head toward the 57th minute. USL Championship play between an SAFC team that, as always, is thinking not only playoffs but top 4 and making a deep run, and an Oakland Roots SC squad that frankly has been struggling to the point where, if you weren't with us at the onset of the broadcast, is playing its first match. There's a whistle again going against the home side, and as you would expect, the folks here at Toyota Field reacting accordingly.
Right, and that is Tomas Camier down on the field there, and it's hard to say if it almost looked like when he turned he had potentially handball, but it's looking like they're giving it to him here. Maybe there's a clip on the ankles, just a bit of a knock.
But to finish the thought before the whistle, as Reed there fights for the ball. Now they both get up. They, including Shannon Gomez, who's staying right there with Reed. And now Lacey coming over and saying, we're going to have none of that.
It's beyond feisty out there.
Yeah. But just finishing the thought, the struggle is for Oakland coming in. Noah Delgado dismisses their head coach. A side story there, Noah and head coach for SAFC, Alan Marcina, once teammates during their playing days, but it's now Gavin Glinton who takes over. And in leading up to this match, in addition to all the scheming and all the schematics, is Roots there tries to make something happen, trying to center toward the middle of the field. They're just outside the box. SAFC doing a nice job at defending, keeping that one out of harm's way. And again, SAFC, it's Burra. Every time Oakland looks to make something happen, the SAFC defense has been there. The SAFC defense, has been there to answer that one. Going to go the way of the home side.
They're feeling much more intense here.
Yes.
I think in the second half they probably got a talking to there in the locker room, and that'll do it.
Some substitutions coming in for Roots. Set to come into the match. Number 15 for the roadside, it's Nabil Hackshaw. And wearing number 4 is a man who has a last name that's not very common unless you're a Spurs fan, and maybe you've heard the name before, and it's not the exact same name, but it's quite similar. Number 4 is last name is Marlashvili. Now he's from Georgia. Think of another athlete with ties to San Antonio who is from Georgia and has a long last name that's not exactly easy to pronounce. Sandro Marlashvili with the Spurs. And in talking to the Oakland Roots people leading up to the match, you're like, we wouldn't be surprised if they know each other, because their young man from Georgia, he actually knows Zaza Pachulia, another Georgia-born pro athlete. So he's like, I wouldn't be surprised if the two know each other. So something we're going to have to check in with Sandro at some point the next time we get together with Sandro and see if Mamu Kalashvili knows his counterpart here, at least on the Oakland Roots side of things, Marlashvili.
It's not often you see guys from Georgia over here in the United States, and the professional athlete world is so small as it is that then it's even smaller when you're both from the same country. So I'd love to know. Did not get a chance to talk to Mamu, not that we really have that access anyway, but would have been cool to know.
Yeah, the assumption there on the Oakland side of things that they probably do know one another. And so Gomez here for the home side. We get to Kendall Burks, knocked down. foul call, giving SAFC the kick coming up.
The other guy that came in, Nabil Hackshaw, big-time guy there in the center back role, coming back and getting some minutes. I think that Oakland has missed him in the past couple of games. He had to sit out a few, and now he's back, and probably wasn't sure if he needed to come in at all this game, but here he is.
Trovaboni take possession. Trova, a young man who coming in has played in 5 matches. That includes 3 starts. So tonight is 4th start in his 6th match for the home side. 4 shots, one of them on target for the season. Gomez here starts us off again. And it's Burks who gets it back over to the aforementioned Boney. Their shot. Opportunity. That one looks like it was deflected out of bounds.
Yeah, had a bit of a strange bounce. Couldn't connect it with the laces to redirect, and looked like it kind of just kept going. Looks like deflected off of Oakland there, so gonna be corner kick.
So matchup show, who we saw featured at halftime there, getting an opportunity. Young man from South of Sudan. Here's a corner for Hernandez. Jorge boots us in. Oh boy, there was an opportunity there, if only for a moment, but it was there as Tim Suro came out, leaving the goal unattended.
Really unlucky there for San Antonio. And there's a missed punch out. It's always a good time to get ahead on it. Just couldn't quite get there, but back in play it is.
Looking for show on that far side again. Here's Lambert with the header. Still able to corral this one.
Nice and quick off his line there.
It's Trayvon Reed, near side. He's number 11 for Roots. Been easy to say, I think, obvious to say, their most active player in this match. The guy who, whenever it looks like they might have something going, has been largely responsible for it. Here he is again with the ball. Lost it momentarily, and that might have cost an opportunity to get it toward the center, though still dancing. Now does get it toward the center. A header, and Oakland Roots SC is on the board first. We were talking about how it seemed like it was only a matter of time before the home side would get on the board. Instead, the visitors come in and they take a 1-0 lead here in the 64th minute.
Right, and Shannon Gomez doing his best to stand him up there, but just overcommits in that beautiful header into the side netting. Nobody is going to get on the end of that. Just great stuff there from Nadir Shari, finishing that one in kind of an awkward body movement, but is able to make it happen. And that's why you got to be touch tight. That's why you got to track the runner. But, you know, maybe it'll light a fire. Goals change games, so we'll have to see how San Antonio responds.
Nadir Shari goes 6'3", 183. And beautifully getting to a spot, Katie, where Cisniega had no shot.
Right, and it was a textbook run in. I mean, they did such a great job. It kind of felt like a matter of time for them here in the second half. Yes, San Antonio showed up with some intensity, but I think when they made those changes between Nabil Hackshaw, Gaji there in the back, really started to change things. If you notice, he really started driving towards the midfield, opened things up, disoriented San Antonio a bit, and I think that's where that ball in transition kind of came from.
And so, SAFC's got some work to do now. They've thoroughly dominated possession. They've created more opportunities. There could have been another one for Juan Agudelo, a whistle though.
That seemed like a body check against Agudelo there in the box. Kind of feels like maybe they got it out for him today.
Instead, it's Agudelo who gets whistled.
And as a friendly reminder, San Antonio hasn't lost back-to-back games since 2020. They also have never lost to Oakland Roots. And so they are playing for a lot more than a win tonight, I think. Cameron Lacey takes a tumble.
Another shot. Cisniega there for this one. That went off the left foot of Nabil Hackshaw, who came in moments ago.
He does good paw it away, but would have liked to see him hold on to that. Probably just caught him off guard there.
Yeah, I don't think he expected Hackshaw to take that shot.
And that's why they want him back there on the pitch.
Gomez heading it back in. Hernandez. Here he goes. And there's no whistle on that. Agudelo, that shot knocked out of bounds. A corner coming for SAFC, but wow. I'm as stunned as you are, Katie.
How are you going to give him a yellow and then not give him the advantage of having...
Here's another look.
It probably had something to do with they were trying to let them play on in case they had advantage and were able to create a goal from that, but there was no way a goal was going to come from that.
Not with that kind of contact. Not with that kind of what looked to be illegal contact at that.
Right. Even with numbers up, there was no way that was going to convert to a goal. And if I'm Jorge Hernandez, I'd much rather have that angle slightly in with a smidge of a look at the goal than here at a corner. So might be something that Marcina has words for, I can imagine.
Well, no doubt. I could see him from here. He was wondering the exact same thing we were. Where is that whistle, and why was it not blown? Here's Hernandez. They play on. Corner. Near post. Out of bounds.
Well defended by Hackshaw.
Well, we talked about Cameron Lacey coming in and making his presence felt. I think for Roots, Nabil Hackshaw has come right in. He was subbed in moments ago, and he's made his presence felt. Another corner. That one punched out. Omar looking for the header, couldn't quite get to it. But Timothy Cyril essentially making sure that that one got out of harm's way from the Roots side of things. And we got some more subs coming for the visitors. Number 17 is Johnny Rodriguez, a man who's gotten a lot of minutes for Oakland this season.
A lot of goals too. 3 goals already on the season. Had 12 goals last season.
Yes.
Can expect them to turn things up here.
Justin Rasmussen also into the match. And in talking about Rasmussen and Rodriguez, 2 guys who this season, and it stands to the reason, right, Katie, with how active you mentioned he's been and how productive he's been. 2 guys that have started the last couple of weeks for Roots, and so the inversion for them in this match, in that some of their better players are coming in the second half.
Right, they're trying to put the nail in the coffin here. Is what it looks like.
And what a luxury to be able to do it now when you're up 1-0 in the second half.
Right, and then the opposing team's starting lineup fatigue.
Right, because that whole theory goes to waste if, say, your opponent, in this case, obviously SAFC, would have come out and scored 2 goals in the first half. Then there is no nail to be put in the coffin come the second half. But it's worked out beautifully for interim coach Gavin Linton. Lacey here on the near side.
And I tell you what, even if you're a starter,
he was trying to get past Najee when we heard the whistles.
Can't try to undress the guy and not get a card. I mean, look at it here. There's of course lots of pushing, hands on the hips. That's fair, but once you get your hand on the jersey, that's when you're gonna hear a whistle blow.
You know what's interesting, Katie, is it seems from the naked eye at first glance, it seems like a lot of these, what you would maybe normally consider 50-50 calls, have gone against SAFC. There's been several calls as Roots, there's Hacksaw, tries to go on the attack. It seems like a lot of these, especially when we've seen them on replays, there's Reed operating near side, taken away. No whistle, and I'm a bit surprised at that, given what I was just saying. Agudelo trying to get to it, couldn't for SAFC. But it seems like those plays where we've had the benefit of going back and looking at the replay make you go, okay, that win against SAFC, some space here. The touch, but taken back by SAFC. But it seems like a lot of those plays have gone against SAFC. Those plays as Hernandez goes on the run. The pace definitely picking up here. Hernandez heading toward that middle of the field, keeping his dribble going.
Doing a good job to pull guys out as well.
Inside goal, San Antonio FC. And just like that, off the foot of Juan Agudelo, we are tied. The equalizer.
I think we can say that San Antonio is a team that plays they started putting their super subs in. They start, they were down a goal, and they love the challenge, is what I think. That goal came out of nowhere. Jorge Hernandez drawing him out, creates a little bit of space there on the back line. It's Burra who puts it in, and Agudelo with a diving, sliding in finish there into that side netting. He almost missed, but he gets it, and he puts it in, puts it away. He was not going to miss it again, and lucky him, he gets that second chance thanks to Burra with a perfect placement. Just all good stuff.
Boy, they don't get any prettier than that feed from Burra. That was gorgeous. Right back comes Roots, and the home side able to get that one out of trouble. It's Hernandez again. Boy, how quickly things can change, especially when you're at home, especially when you're as talented as SAFC is. On his own there, but maintaining possession. And so Roots still operating. And you mentioned it, Katie, in terms of Agudelo and not missing on this one. Just a couple minutes ago, he had an opportunity right in front of goal, and he couldn't quite get there. As here's Scholl. Here's Lacey now on our side. SAFC on the attack. Omar, left-footed, ricochets.
If he had taken that maybe first, second touch, it would have potentially been different there. Just held on to it a little bit too long. But, subs change games, goals change games. I think the difference between when you see some of these younger guys who came up through Project 510 and then some of these more veteran players who just stepped into the match, they're hungry, they're a little more confident. Sometimes they'll step out rather than sit back and let San Antonio play. And I think because of that, it opened up some seams, and they were able to kind of get in there. So now this feels like a different match.
No doubt the intensity is picked up on SAFC's part. It's like a switch just flipped on. That Agudelo, and you can sense it coming before the Agudelo goal. It's just that the Agudelo score puts it into overdrive now as Lacey gets it to Hernandez. And there's a whistle. That one obvious. That one had to be called. Lacey on the turf.
Lucky there to get that call in that moment. Things are starting to really close down for San Antonio FC. You look at it here, and yeah, it's just all body, no ball. Going to get called all day long. Had Mitchell Scholl there on the back line, who could have potentially been dangerous, but I think this is really the sweet spot. Again, scoring range here for Jorge Hernandez, guy who leads the league in chances created.
4 assists on the season for Hernandez, although as mentioned, Katie, this is an opportunity where you really, really look for that skill set and its talents to help you in what would be a go-ahead goal for San Antonio FC. They scored just moments ago, got the equalizer after Roots stunned them with the first goal of the match early on in the second half.
Could be anybody's ball here.
Awaiting the official as both teams jockey for position. There's Hernandez. Shot on goal. Save. Tim Cyril again with a nice play in goal. And so a corner coming for Hernandez. After he placed that one, I think if there's no hand put on that ball, Katie, I think we're looking at a 2-1 ball game.
Right, that would have hit the top of the post. Great save there from Tim Cyril, doing all that he could in that moment.
Header off the corner, comes over to Scholl. Scholl still in business. Another corner coming for the home side.
Things heating up for San Antonio. Something to prove. You know, going back to that save by Timothy Cyril, it was kind of reminiscent of Pablo Cisniega's save,
yes.
Just not quite as far into the 90. Didn't have to get super stretched out, but still great stuff from this young guy.
He avoided landing on his hip. Here's Hernandez from the other side. That one headed out. SAFC, though, still very much with an opportunity. Hernandez. Inside. Shot. Goal! SAFC! Just like that, it's a 2-1 lead. My goodness, we've said his name several times. Kevin Lambert, a man who Coach Alan Marcinez says, Katie, the best midfielder in the USL. That's my opinion. That's what I think. I think Lambert saying, I'm making a case for it right now.
Absolute proof, absolute scenes. Every time he scores, he gives us the acrobatics, and we love it. The crowd goes wild, but really, it's this beautiful ball in. It has a curve. He beats Cyril just to it and made him pay. And it was actually Kendall Burks there who was there to make sure he saw it in. We'll look at it here, and yep, it goes all the way in.
Get the placement, yeah. Basically, because Cyril came up to challenge, once Lambert was able, there's the acrobatics. It's almost as impressive as a goal.
Yeah, really and truly. But I'm sure a goal feels a lot better to Alan Marcina. Finally, somebody jutting ahead here, or San Antonio getting back ahead, feeling more like they're winning ways, trying to hold down that record against Oakland. And you know, we had talked about it with Cyril. There was a couple times where if you just put intense amount of pressure on him, it might just work in your favor. And I think that was an example of that there. Something that happens with some of these younger players, but it was just quite the mix there. And it was Kevin Lambert who was able to get on the end of it at the end of the day. And
second goal of the season for Lambert. Another player who has played and started every match for the home side this season. Juan Agudelo, Jorge Hernandez. Before today, Luke Hawkinson had been in that category. Lucas, who went out earlier in this ball game, another person along with Kendall Burks. And in goal, Pablo Cisniega, SAFC players who managed to play and start every single match so far this season. This the 9th of USL Championship play.
I think it's just proof there that, you know, Kevin Lambert really needs to stay in that defensive midfielder position, because he just, his IQ is really strong. He's fast, he's tall, he's such a pivotal player there in that spot that it just feels unjust to keep him there in the corner. And so, you know, as soon as he made those changes, put Shannon in more of the outside back role, you can see the effect.
Opportunity here for Roots. They want a handball. They might get it. Yep. Okay, a lot of activity here on the field as the officials say, hold on a second, we're going to sort this out. But you can see he immediately on that defense, and here's the yellow card.
Yeah, it was a goal-stopping play. If I can recall, looked like he slid into it, had both hands up.
I think they're going to say they're giving Lambert the card. I think they're going to say that it hit. There's the forearm.
So it wasn't intentional for him, but nowadays they tell guys to go in with their hands behind their back because it doesn't matter anymore, because they think that people can fake, being unintentional with their hands getting in front of the ball. And so now a lot of coaches, you'll see defenders defending with their hands actually behind their back, which actually makes it really hard to defend. Back in my day, they would have chewed us apart if we had done that, because it really helps you to get low and stay balanced by having your arms out, but it's just too much of a problem here in case it does nick your arm, just like it did here with Kevin Lambert. So now it's up to Pablo Cisniega.
Yeah, you get the meaning behind the rule, right? Like as you mentioned, you don't want to put an official in position to have to guess. Was he trying to do that with his arm on purpose, or was he just kind of naturally trying to unintentionally, if you will, use his arm as part of his defense? Well, if you ask guys to put the hands behind their bodies to eliminate that risk, but it's very unnatural. It's a very unnatural motion.
Cisniega with the yellow. Just taking his time, trying to delay the play, but it may not be enough. Let's see.
Johnny Rodriguez will take the kick versus Pablo Cisniega. We're tied.
And it's a classic penalty kick there from Johnny Rodriguez again. It's going to be his third goal here this season. Had 12 goals last season. Kind of know when he comes out on the field that he's going to be dangerous, but man, you just don't want to face him from the PK mark. Perfect side netting there. Nothing Pablo could have done. I mean, he gets the right direction. Just no way you're going to get to it with that kind of pace.
He's a young man who is playing pro ball not far, terribly far from where he's from. Born in Fresno, out in California. You mentioned his 12 goals last year that led Oakland Roots SC. And for the moment, that one very, very big, because it means that in the 84th minute, we've got ourselves a 2-2 match. And again, he came in moments ago. We talked about everything, his productivity, everything he brings to this Roots ball club. He did not start or play the first half tonight. But in coming in, you can say he's made up for some lost time. And so here we are, late in the second half, 2-2 between his Oakland Roots SC ball club and San Antonio.
And that's why he's a usual starter, because he can come in and convert, but it's always nice having a good free look at the goal there from the PK mark, but you just can't discount him. I mean, leads the team in all-time goals scored with 21. Again, had 12 goals last season. This is his fourth goal.
Yeah, and set to come in for Roots as we take a look at how we got to 2-2. On the board first was Roots here in the second half. But then coming right back was Juan Agudelo after he had just missed moments before, missed on getting to the ball and creating an opportunity. And then shortly after that, it was Lambert who put SAFC up 2-1. The handball there on Lambert, and then the go-ahead goal, the equalizer for Johnny Rodriguez. And so 2-2 is where we are, as entering the game now is Daniel Gomez, another player who routinely starts for Roots and is making his way into the second half.
Coming out is Ali El Masnoui, another 501 Academy player. Excuse me, 510 Academy player. So all good things, but again, as you see a lot of these older guys stepping in, it changes things, it opens up pockets, and it's requiring San Antonio to shift on the fly. Again, almost a successful break through the back line there.
Yeah, it looks like he fell on his own and was not tripped, and I think the officials agreeing, or else we would have seen or heard the whistle. Now the stoppage in play. They go over and check.
Kevin Lambert sitting on a yellow. Definitely doesn't want another yellow.
That's exactly what came to mind. Is Kevin? I know.
Back.
Yes, I know you're not intending to say anything that's going to get you another yellow, but given the reality that you've already got a yellow, maybe you're best served coming over here, making your way to the other side of the field. Surprising result. Would you agree, Katie? Surprising to the fact that we're here. To start the night, we knew that San Antonio FC would be missing some key guys. But then we get to the stadium and we realize Oakland is going with a completely different lineup than maybe we anticipate, or at least half of a lineup that we anticipated. And sure enough, we're seeing a lot of their key guys, their usual guys, enter in the second half. And yet, despite all of that, here we are, knotted in two, late in the second half.
Right. I mean, aside from a solid effort from Trayvon Reed and a big save from Pablo Cisniega in the first half, really it's the second half where things have heated up. And again, I think it's the substitutions. They just change games, open up pockets.
And so now let's see if SAFC picks up that intensity that we saw as Richard Windbickler is in the match for the home side. It's number 40. Had the ball just moments ago.
Haven't seen much of Windbickler yet. His first appearance here.
I believe that's his first appearance of the season.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't think we've seen him at all this year. Heck of a time to come in. Windbickler, a man who hails from Austria, town of Vienna, goes 6 foot, 172. He's got the ball now. Plays it back to Burks. Kendall up ahead. That one stopped by Najee. Still had it momentarily. Here's Hernandez. Takes it from Najee. Hernandez pushing through on the turf. No call. They play on. Windbickler back in. And here comes Roots. There's Reed. Reed with trying to create an opportunity inside, that one deflected. Hackshaw. And now Roots picking up the pace as well.
Tell you what, this is a tough game to come into as your debut, because
right.
It's intensity is an all-time high. There's only a few minutes left. It's tied, and you haven't it's different when you haven't been in the lineup for a while, because it's just different when you're playing against a team versus your own guys in practice. So you just can't give people too much time. You got to act quick. You got to think quick. Not only that, but fitness. I'm sure you could probably get a good quality 15 minutes from him out of this, but he's got to give everything here.
Well, you saw moments ago, stoppage time, 8 minutes. So as we've reached the 90th minute mark, 8 minutes of stoppage time. Kendall Burks heading it out of trouble moments ago. And so 8 minutes is what the home side has here, following the conclusion of the official time being kept. There's Lacey. And there's a whistle. And again, that's a common sight tonight. Lacey asking official, what do you mean? How? What just happened? Cameron Lacey's been on the other end of some tough calls tonight.
Right, also sitting on a yellow, so just can't get too feisty with the ref there. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, there's no excuse that San Antonio wasn't able to get one in the first half, and I just think the sense of urgency wasn't there. I think it was hard to find a seam, and I think they just got kind of complacent, kind of going through the motions, and you know, again, subs change things, right?
Yeah.
In this second half, it feels different, but can't be too little too late type situation. Still plenty of time. I mean, 8 minutes extra time, it's a good chunk of time. So not counting anything out, this really and truly can go any way.
That whistle again going against SAFC. They get Kendall Burks on this one. And I'm wondering, Katie, how much of that complacency maybe had to do with the fact you mentioned the SAFC subs. Well, how about the lineup that Oakland put up out there? You know, that natural kind of, you look across the field, you don't see a Johnny Rodriguez on the field. You don't see a Daniel Gomez on the field. You know, and so you know that Dom Dwyer, the MLS player on their roster, he's not out there. I wonder if there's a moment of you know, natural course of just the way human being processes things and makes you think, okay, I think we're going to be okay tonight. And then you see the kind of performance you saw in the first half.
Just a little bit off the mark there, was hoping for a back run, but
yeah,
well defended
for
by
that
San
back
Antonio.
post there. Lambert able to push it out of bounds, so a corner coming.
Going back to Coach Gavin Clinton, I think it comes down to just knowing your players. Last time he was a head coach, it was for an academy. Aside from that, this is his first time as a head coach of a professional program, and so I think it just comes down to knowing his guys and knowing who could stave off San Antonio, maybe make him run a bit, run him down, and then bring in his big guys there in the second half, and I think he just executed the game plan.
Off the corner, whistle, and this one going back SAFC's way. About 5 minutes left in stoppage time. SAFC looking for 2 points. 2 points that I think they thought would be very, very attainable at the start of the night. For Roots, I think they'd be happy to get out of here with a point. Here's a chance for SAFC potentially. Omar. That one knocked out of bounds. You can see what Muhammad was thinking.
Everyone holds their breath when Jorge Hernandez has a little bit of daylight.
Yes.
You know, and he had it there, but it wasn't long before he's got another 2-3 white jerseys on him. So Oakland doing a great job to just kind of hold him back and hold him down. Aside from that beautiful assist to Kevin Lambert, of course, but.
And that was gorgeous. That was good. It was Burra. Burra throw us in. Hackshaw kicking that one out of bounds. Gonna get out of trouble.
San Antonio not unknown for the late goal either.
Right. We have seen some dramatics.
That's why it's so entertaining to come out here to Toyota Field.
Opportunity here. Shaw feeding it in. Shot without looking goes over the crossbar.
Hands in the head. Juan Agudelo just sails it over the crossbar.
Yeah, you could tell that he knew from the moment that left his foot it was much higher than he intended it to be.
So many opportunities in that last run of play. I mean, multiple guys in scoring position, unmarked. If you're Oakland, that can't happen. If you're San Antonio, you need to make them pay for that. And, of course, Agudelo, he gave it his best, but
Agudelo already with a goal on the night. Kevin Lambert providing the other for San Antonio FC. Johnny Rodriguez with the penalty kick. Tim Sherrill gets that one out of harm's way. The tie is at 2 a little while ago. Windbeckler.
Great
Fantastic.
hustle. Great hustle and retention of possession. I think that's something that kind of struggled with here.
Yeah, he knocked it away at first, and then, as you mentioned, able to get his feet on the ball. It's Lambert. We're closing in at right around 2 minutes of stoppage time.
I like the flick there. Under pressure. Understandably wants the call. That chip with the ankles came from behind.
Here's Trova Boney. Inside, that went a little too long. You could tell from this angle that was going to be just a little too far.
Right, just a bit too much pace on it. Also just didn't cut that angle in, but that's really tough to do.
Now, Omar made it closer than it probably should have been.
Yeah, good effort.
Great with the effort. But a tough play on his behalf, but one that obviously you got to make, especially in the waning moments as we near the end of 8 minutes of stoppage time. Rodriguez, one of their best players, making a leg play. And the home side able to get it out of trouble. Hernandez. Here we go. Center of the field. Here's Windmickler. Shannon Gomez near side. Windmickler trying to take it back. Instead taken from him. Lambert trying to get possession back. It's Gomez. SAFC looking to make something happen. Omar. We're just past the 8-minute mark. Given 8 minutes of stoppage time. Windmickler gets back on his feet. Center, headed out. And there we go.
Just not enough and enough time. It's a good fight between both of these teams. Love what I saw from Windbickler there. Some quick, shifty movements, a flick here and there. It increased the pace. It changed the pace when you needed to. But you know what? It's just not enough done and enough time here for both of these teams.
I think the expression you saw on Mohamed Omar's face moments ago, I think says it all. I think he knows. He knows what you mentioned a little while ago, some missed opportunities, and at the end of the night, a missed opportunity for San Antonio FC to get 2 points. They'll come away with one. Final from right here at Toyota Field, SAFC 2, Oakland Roots SV 2. On Star Wars night, May the 4th, the Force, you could say, was with Roots tonight and helping get the draw. So, not a great showing for SAFC, but they do pick up a point. And so, with that, for Katie Gooden, I'm Hector Despa saying so long to Toyota Field. 2-2 our final. May the 4th be with you. We have a good rest of the weekend. You've been watching SAFC on Valley Sports.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.